Good evening, I'm John Carter and welcome to Poland Daily. Don't freak out, go and vote. This is the motto of a movement organised by the group of celebrities siding with the opposition, intended to encourage participation in the elections. The video packages include famous actors in which they make fun of mentally ill people.
The creator of the Don't Freak Out, Go and Vote campaign, which was to encourage young people to participate in the election, is the photographer Tomasz Sikora. Some of the movies used in the campaign, including those recorded by actors Wojciech Przoniak and Olgierd Łukasiewicz, are causing deep embarrassment.
Don't freak out, go and vote.
A wybory.
Don't freak out, go and vote.
Idź na wybory.
Many commentators and health experts know that the campaign uses crazy stereotypes ridiculing people who do not vote or vote differently. It also attacks people with mental health problems.
To jest jakaś hipokryzja, zwłaszcza w wykonaniu osób I środowisk.
This is hypocrisy, especially the performance of people and circles that on the one hand fight for respect for every minority, for all, and on the other hand laugh at and mock, let's be frank, people with mental disorders.
Nagrywają się z niepełnosprawności.
The social campaign media is promoted by the musician Zbigniew Holdys, known for political views opposing the ruling party. If this good man receives enough votes, then he gets the mandate of the MP. If not, if he gets less, those votes will count anyway for the party.
Ja bym zostawił na boku kwestię tego, czy to obraża kogoś, czy nie obraża.
I would leave aside if it offends someone. I would rather wonder if it is effective. We have an election mobilization movement in which actors known to support one side of the political dispute take part. Apart from the weak idea, it's very unbelievable due to the partisan people participating in it.
Który mamy w Polsce.
Columnists note that the action may be counterproductive.
50% Polaków nie chodzi średnio na
50% of Poles do not go to elections for various reasons. I would not call them misfits, they're just not voters. Not participating in the elections is a citizen's right, so such discrediting video packages, in my opinion, will do a lot of harm to the opposition.
poniżające, dyskredytujące spoty.
The campaign was also met with criticism from politicians from both the ruling party and some opposition MPs.
The President of Poland, Andrzej Duda, will participate in the United Nations General Assembly in New York this Saturday. According to representatives of the President's Chancellery, there is a possibility President Duda will meet with the US President Donald Trump. The proposal of the meeting has allegedly come from the Americans.
Bardzo się, bym powiedział, bogato I pozytywnie
The plan of the visit seems to be very rich in events and positive. What I can confirm is that the visit will start with a meeting with the Polish diaspora on Sunday. Our president will participate in the climate summit as well. He will give a speech during the United Nations General Assembly. I'm convinced that this will be a very good and important visit. I'm sure there are going to be many important meetings of all the leaders in New York.
z przywódcami w Nowym Jorku.
Polish company Mesko in Skarżysko-Kamienna will provide the Polish army with more than 800 anti-tank Phoenix rockets. The missiles, with a range of approximately 40 kilometres, can be fired by the Polish WR-40 Langusta multiple rocket launcher system. The contract between Mesko and the Ministry of Defence is worth around 25 million zloty.
Nie ulega żadnej wątpliwości, że w dzisiejszym świecie
There is no doubt that in today's world the importance of artillery, whether it comes to actual combat or scaring off any potential enemies, is huge. But artillery is essential. I'm very happy that while we are modernizing our military with the newest foreign technologies, we are also capable of providing our army with our own Polish equipment and ammunition.
mamy zdolności polskie.
European leaders are beginning preparations for an EU summit of the bloc's Ministers of Interior on Monday, which is expected to formalise a temporary agreement on the relocation of African migrants arriving by boat to Italy and Malta. The plan, pushed by Germany and France, would lead to EU naval forces resuming the sea rescue operations previously conducted under Operation Sophia, but aborted after migration hardliner Matteo Salvini assumed office as Italian Minister of Interior. With Salvini out of government, Germany has offered to take in 25% of all migrants with valid asylum claims arriving in Italy by boat.
The new coalition government in Rome between the Five Star Movement and the Socialist Democratic Party has softened the anti-mass immigration policies previously put in place by Salvini. Migration is a complex phenomenon. We Italians are very aware of it, and it is essential for Europe that it turns the page towards a structural management that is no longer based on emergency for migratory flows. Italy has always asked for it with consistency. We need to move the migration issue away from propaganda, from the perspective of an anti-European propaganda. We must continue to offer a rigorous answer. Macron, in turn, underlined that the temporary relocation mechanism to be agreed on in Malta must later be replaced by a new common EU asylum law that would replace the old Dublin regulation. The conflict cannot be solved at the expense of human lives, accepting that there are people stuck in the sea and that they risk drowning. Secondly, there must be a need for solidarity that is too often lacking in Europe. The European Union hasn't given sufficient proof of this solidarity with the countries of first arrival, in particular with Italy. And France is ready to change on this point in the context of the complete revision of the Dublin Agreement. In Germany, the Minister of Interior, Horst Seehofer, told the press at his meeting with Salvini's successor as Italian Minister of Interior, Luciana Lamorghese, and made him confident that Germany, France and Italy will act together at the EU summit in Brussels on October 18th to institute a new asylum law aimed at distributing migrants fairly across the EU. With the new Italian government, we have the new great opportunity in Europe to address the pressing issues, in this case, sea rescue, and to find a concept for it. If Germany doesn't take on this opportunity, it would be a huge mistake. We have to grab this opportunity with the new Italian government, and the talks yesterday increased my confidence that it can be possible to present a sea rescue concept to the other EU member states at the summit on October 18th, with the message that as many member states as possible should participate. Meanwhile, the migrant boats continue to arrive in Europe. A video of a migrant boat arriving unintercepted by the Coast Guard, a so-called ghost landing in Sicily on September 18th, has gone viral, highlighting the danger of uncontrolled immigration to Europe. Authorities say that they captured 10 of the migrants later in the day, but at least another 10 are still unaccounted for. On Thursday, Interpol revealed that the agency has detected more than a dozen foreign terrorist fighters arriving to Europe by boat over the summer. The news is likely to strengthen the resolve of a number of states in Central Eastern Europe to resist any plans to replace the Dublin regulation with a system of mandatory migrants relocation quotas for all EU member states.
Thank you very much for joining me here this evening at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter. Stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily Weather. It's followed by the business, then it's the culture, history and finally the travel.
Hello and welcome to Poland Daily Weather. The forecast for tonight calls for partly cloudy skies in practically the entire country, with the exception of Warsaw, where we can expect clear skies, and in Lublin, where tonight we will see showers. The temperatures will vary from 5 to 9 degrees centigrade. Friday will be a very rainy day in Poland. Warsaw will see cloudy skies, while the rest of the country can expect scattered showers. The temperature will vary from 14 to 16 degrees centigrade. In the next 3 days, it should get a bit warmer. On Saturday, we can expect to see showers in the northwest. On Sunday, we can expect clearer skies, and by Monday, the rain will return to the northwest and the southeast. That is all for now. I invite you to stay with us and to join us later on for Poland Daily Business.
Poland Daily Business Edition. Tonight we will talk about European Union and its future. Professor Zbigniew Krysiak is our guest tonight, sir. Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here.
You are not only professor of Warsaw School of Economics, but also a founder of the Institute of Schumann's Thought. And
that's right.
This is the organization, very small, so to say, that is pursuing the alternative vision of the European Union. Only a few years ago we thought that the vision of the European Union has no alternative, that we are going to build supranational state, that basically each citizen of it will be more inhabitant of a certain area rather than national of France, Germany, Holland, Italy, that national borders and nation state was like treated like a swear word. And after the years of your activity, after the congresses, meetings you organize, visits in Europe, are you seeing that more and more people see that this big picture of the Europe without of nations is a wrong idea? And do you find more people who are agreeing with you?
Yeah, it seems to be a pretty well, perceiving this approach, the Community of European Nations, which was the idea of Robert Schuman, and against this idea, stood Attilio Spinelli, the very aggressive ideology, which basically is against the Christian fundaments. So they are going to remove these Christian fundaments. And as we are currently, going around the Europe and establishing in different countries so-called Schuman groups. Currently we were as well in the Metz, Strasbourg. It seems to be that the people are not only from Poland, from many countries are really accept and like, to think in that space about the community. Some, for instance, people from Norway, they are not in the European Union, but they say, we don't like European Union because this is a uniform, this is a monolith, this is something we lose identity, and we basically like to join the Community of European Nations, which say the people from Norway, but not the European Union. And the reason for that is, I think, the current decades of the shape of the European institutions, which reminds us very much indeed some certain institutions, centralized institutions in the communists, which are approaching basically from the perspective to control the countries, to penalize them, not just, as a leaders who take care, as a fathers, as a, somebody who is basically serving, like the Robert Schuman said, I came to serve, not to rule, for creating a community relationship and keep the identity, patriotism as a love to your own country. Because if you love your own country, then you can love the others. If you hate your country, it is impossible you love others. So these are the basic principle Robert Schuman brought to that space in the Europe.
We also are living in the situation when the words like nationalism or patriotism are considered dirty words. Let us focus now on the economics. We have the test of the European Union, the great crisis of 2008, and it took Europe almost a decade to walk out of this crisis, while other countries like United States, China, South America had it over in months, if not even shorter.
Yes, Alexander, it's a very good example. The fruits speak about, your condition, about, your concept. So, and this comparison between, how long, took for Europe, to cure, the crisis over the decade, with not much success, in fact, compared to the US when they, arranged that over 1 year. So the entire, these fundaments, as I said, the fundaments, they are destroyed. The fundaments which lied, Robert Schuman with Konrad Adenauer and Alcide de Gasperi, they were destroyed. And if you don't have a good fundaments, it shows that the economy of Europe is in a very bad stage. So this is not anymore so much competitive in the long perspective. As you notice, the there is a big GDP, debt outstanding to the GDP ratio is increasing very much indeed in France, Italy, the Germany. I mean, it takes a position of the monopoly. And if you compare the different macro factors of the Europe to the US, to the India, and to as well, China, you see, or entire Asian economy, you see that the Europe is more and more going back. So, the reason is why is if you look, how the American, a philosophy of this social philosophy is, organized. You can, notice that this brings as well a better condition and better fruits for the economy. The solidarity. Robert Schuman said about the unity, solidarity, and the peace. So a lack of solidarity. Germans are cooperating with Russia. Nord Stream 2. Nord Stream 2 is a very good example to show how the Germans destroy solidarity. If Robert Schuman said the community of European nations should be, based on the solidarity. So the economic relations should be based on the solidarity. And we, as scientists, as economists, we know if the economy is balanced, then delivers the highest, most efficiency and the productivity.
And that's not the case of Europe these days.
And this is not the case of the Europe now, and it's going rather in the opposite direction.
So I wish you all the best in this pursuit to make people aware that Europe is not heading the right direction. Professor Zbigniew Krysiak of Warsaw School of Economics. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
And that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.
Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily Business Weather. Tomorrow will be a very rainy day in Poland. Warsaw can expect to see cloudy skies and rain, while the rest of the country can expect to see scattered showers. The temperature will vary from 14 to 16 degrees centigrade. In Europe, we can expect showers in Athens and Kiev and a temperature of 27 and 14 degrees respectively. A warm front will cover the UK, Ireland, France and Switzerland, and we can expect clear skies in Dublin, London, Paris and Bern, and temperatures of 17 to 23 degrees centigrade. The rest of the continent can expect partly cloudy skies and temperatures of 10 to 27 degrees. That is all for now. I invite you to stay with us and to join us later for Poland Daily Culture, Travel and History. Thank you for joining us, and I wish you all a very pleasant evening.
Good day, everyone. My name is Maria Kądzielska, and this is Poland Daily Culture. Our guest for today is Aleksandra Gintrowska, singer, actress, and also a very beautiful woman. Ola, thank you for being with us.
Hi, and thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
But before we dig up all Ola's artistic secrets, let's listen to one of her songs. what are your plans in other fields? Is there any role or acting role which is developing for you or you get more attached to?
Yes, actually I'm in a TV series called Pierwsza Miłość, which is First Love. And it's actually one of the oldest TV series in Poland. But I got there recently. And now I feel like my character is actually going to have a bigger input in the series. There's going to be a lot of romance.
What name is your character?
Ula. Ula. that's my character.
Ula in First Love.
Yes, and that's actually funny.
And
because
who is she?
She's a nice girl who came from the city to the village. Because in the series there are two main, I would say...
Plots or spaces?
Yeah, exactly, plots. That was the word I was missing. Plots. One is in the city, in Wrocław, and the other one is in the village, Wadlewo. Yeah, and my character comes to the village, and there is a lot of story behind like how I got there, and actually I got to love the village so much that I decided to stay. And for a long time, I was just, in all the actions that was happening with bigger groups, like we had a Miss content, the beauty content.
Beauty content?
Yeah, or we were actually recording a disco polo song, and I was teaching the
So you had
group.
your element of disco polo in life.
Yes. Actually, I was not a performer, but I was preparing the group. Like my character was, like I feel like my character knows everything and is good in everything, and I'm just teaching people everything in this TV series. What is really funny, because I got to learn a lot too, thanks to my character. And now I feel like there's gonna be some romance, plot with my character, and it's gonna be really complicated because there's gonna be two guys who are gonna be in love, and they're gonna be, fighting for me.
Two different, oh, amazing, the best.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be like, okay, who's better?
Choose the one, choose the right guy.
Yes, exactly.
So fingers crossed that you choose wisely, or Ula chooses wisely.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's in the script later on, but that's what I know for now. Who knows, maybe I'll end up lonely again.
Oh no, the worst.
I know.
Or murdered by one of them, as you murdered your boyfriend in another TV series.
But that wasn't intentionally.
Well, karma comes back.
I know, but...
And any new ideas about entertainment performances or entertainment shows?
Well,
are you looking for something?
I'm not looking for anything as for now, because I want to focus on my music and acting also. So if I get some proposition, I will consider them, but as for now, I'm not looking for anything, because music and acting is more important now.
And touching the point of festivals, music festivals, or do you take part in any, and do you think it's a good idea to develop your artistic skills?
Of course, when you're able to perform as much, it's always the best, because you're getting to meet a new audience. Because on festivals that combine different artists, there's always different audience, an audience that is specifically for your music. So, you have to face them. You have to kind of, try to make them like you, with your performance, which is not always easy, because, people are very judgmental. As long as you know what you're doing and you feel what you're doing, and you're not faking anything, it's better. It's because the audience feel when you're fake or not.
So it's a lot of things you develop all the time, and you all the time work on.
Yes, and when you're meeting different, musicians, platforms where you can entertain or perform, it's always a new lesson.
Do you have a moment in your life when you just want to say, I want to shut down all the doors and stay here and work on for example, on your lyrics and on your music, and get rid of all the noise and, I would say, rush as well?
Of course, there are those moments when you just want to stay with yourself, You just want to listen to, you know, all the voices in your head and maybe just sometimes write the lyrics down. Very often when I'm driving my car, I feel some, you know, lyrics just floating in, and then I have to stop and, you know, write them down in my phone. So I have loads of, you know, short notes in my phone with, you know, ideas for the lyrics.
So all the car crashes caused by you will be because of writing them. But policeman, it wasn't really my fault. I had this idea to write a song and I had to stop.
Well, sometimes when I'm not able to write down, I'm just, you know, doing a voice note. So that's better because I can focus on driving and do the voice note, right?
Absolutely. Fingers crossed for that. Do we know the title of your new album coming?
Well, I'm not decided yet, so...
You won't share it with us neither. Absolutely.
That's a secret.
So let's keep it as a secret. So we keep fingers crossed for you. And hopefully our audience is looking forward for new Ola Skintrowska single as well. And thank you for watching Poland Daily Culture.
Thank you.
Few countries in the modern era have been shaped by or subject to the horrors of war as much as Poland. From its emergence after the First World War in 1918 until 20 years later, it found itself again subject to occupation. The army has played a key role in Poland's history and development. In this series of films, we look at that time, the emergence of a new army in 1918, its first major conflict in the Polish-Soviet War, its attempts during the 1930s to maintain development faced with a European-wide arms race and the struggle of the Second World War. This is a story of how the Polish Army and the Navy and the Air Force responded to that challenge. Once it became impossible for the army to fight in Poland, that wasn't the end of the story because, of course, the Polish armed forces were fighting with the Allies in almost every other theatre. And I was wondering if you could say a few words about the activities of the Polish contribution to the other battles during the course of the Second World War.
Tak, po klęsce w 1939 roku wojsko polskie zostało odtworzone w Francji.
After the defeat in 1939, the Polish army was recreated in France. A new Polish government in exile was formed under General Sikorski, and this government formed an army that in 1940 reached numbers of around 80,000 soldiers. This army took part in the defense of France in 1940. Unfortunately, France was conquered by the Germans, so some Polish forces, tens of thousands of Polish soldiers, managed to evacuate to Great Britain. There, the Polish army was recreated again. The Polish army was built up in Scotland again, and it was there that the Polish First Corps was created, which included the 1st Polish Armoured Division, founded in 1942, commanded by the famous General Stanisław Maczek. Other units were also created, for example the 1st Polish Independent Parachute Brigade, whose commander was General Stanisław Sosabowski. Polish troops alongside the Allies were also created in the Middle East. In Syria, the Polish Independent Carpathian Rifle Brigade was created, which later moved on to Palestine and Egypt and was transferred to British command. These soldiers became famous for aiding the Allies to defend the African stronghold Tobruk during the siege of Tobruk. There, they fought under the command of General Stanisław Kopański. After the German attack on the Soviet Union in 1941, a Polish army under General Władysław Anders was created in the Soviet Union, an army to which those Poles who the Soviets had forcibly deported from eastern Poland deep into the Soviet Union as part of the repression of Poland. This army was later evacuated to British-controlled areas in the Middle East, to Iraq and Iran by the decision of Allies. Based on this army, the Polish Second Corps was created, which in 1944 was sent to fight in Italy. The Polish soldiers of the Second Corps, commanded by General Władysław Anders, conquered the monastery of Monte Cassino, which was defended by the Germans, and thus opened the way to Rome to the Allies. Later, this corps ended its participation in the war by capturing and liberating the Italian city of Bologna. However, those Polish soldiers who had remained on the British Isles took part in Operation Overlord following D-Day. The 1st Polish Armoured Division of General Maczek became famous at the beginning of August 1944 at the Battle of Falaise, where it played a vital role in sealing the encirclement of German troops in the Falaise pocket, and in doing so became the most famous Polish armoured unit in history. They later continued battle route through France, Belgium and the Netherlands. We must not forget that Sosabowski's Polish paratroopers took part in the Battle of Arnhem, the largest airborne operation of the Second World War.
Nie możemy zapomnieć też, że polscy spadochroniarze generała Sosabowskiego wzięli udział w bitwie pod Arnhem, największej operacji powietrzno-desantowej II wojny światowej.
And if I could just add, perhaps one of the most famous operations of the Second World War, indeed, which made from the British perspective the war possible in many ways, or the continuation of the war, was of course the Polish contribution to the RAF and the Battle of Britain in the summer of 1940. I was wondering if you'd like to say a few words about the Polish pilots who took part.
Tak, polscy piloci, którym udało się wydostać z Polski, wzięli też udział w obronie Wielkiej Brytanii.
Polish pilots who managed to evacuate from Poland also took part in the defense of Great Britain. 2 Polish squadrons, the 2nd Fighter Squadron and 303rd Fighter Squadron, took part in the Battle of Britain. The 303rd Squadron became the most famous Polish squadron after it downed 126 German aircrafts during the Battle of Britain. Among the pilots of this squadron was Witold Urbanowicz, whose uniform we can see in our museum. This pilot commanded the squadron and later also fought in the Far East alongside the US Army, which assisted the Chinese in fighting the Japanese. Polish pilots were not only fighter pilots, they served as bomb crews that participated in many bomb operations over Germany. Among others, they bombed German troops in Belgium and the Ruhr area. They also conducted other activities that were significant when it came to bomber aviation. The Poles were respected in the eyes of the British. Polish pilots were the only Poles who were invited to the Victory Parade in London after the war, but they turned the offer down as solidarity with the other Polish units which had not been invited.
Zwycięstwa, natomiast nie wystąpili w tej defiladzie ze względów politycznych.
One of the early operations in the Second World War was, of course, the attack on, or the expedition to Narvik, which was ultimately intended to try to disrupt the supply of Swedish iron ore to Germany, to disrupt their war effort. Again, another operation in which there was a British-Polish cooperation.
W 1940 roku wspólną operację Polacy podjęli.
In 1940, the Polish army, which had been established in France, undertook a joint operation with the Allies. The Polish Independent Highland Brigade was sent to defend Narvik against the German invasion. It was a Norwegian port for which the Allies fought together, the Poles, the French and the British. The Polish fleet also participated in this operation. Polish destroyers took part in the battles for Narvik, and one of them was sunk there by the Germans.
Jeden z nich został tam zatopiony przez Niemców. Był to RP Grom.
One of the obviously things that was done with the Special Operations Executive in England was, of course, to train Polish special forces to be parachuted into Poland to join with the underground and to try and obviously foment attacks against the Germans. I wonder if you were able to say a few words about those operations.
W czasie II wojny światowej Polacy też chcieli polscy żołnierze na zachodzie chcieli pomóc tym.
During World War II, Polish soldiers in the West wanted to help those who were in the country, and therefore they were training soldiers who were to support the resistance in the country. They were so-called cichociemni, or the silent unseen. They were prepared to fight in Poland on special courses. They were prepared to be transferred by air transport to Poland. 316 of these silent unseen, who fought in the ranks of the Polish Home Army, were transferred to Poland. They were then trained to teach the other soldiers of the underground fighting methods. These soldiers were very thoroughly prepared for various activities. They were prepared for both direct combat and acts of sabotage. They were not only taught to fight, but also how to forge documents to be able to survive in an occupied country, how to organize all sorts of underground activities that would allow the Home Army, the Underground Army, to fight.
Walczyć armii krajowej, armii podziemnej.
One of the images we have when we see films about the Warsaw Uprising is these brave fighters with their Sten guns, which look very much like the British Sten gun. I was wondering how those guns appeared in the Warsaw Uprising and at other times.
Steny, które możemy obejrzeć na zdjęciach, to nie są tylko steny brytyjskie. Oczywiście część to była broń.
Sten guns that we can see in the pictures are not just British Sten guns. Of course, some of them were weapons that were sent to Poland by Allied airdrops. In Poland was the only occupied country which organized serial but underground production of weapons was started. Since the construction of the Sten gun is very simple, any locksmith's workshop can make components for this type of weapon, which is why Polish craftsmen undertook this and created Polish Sten guns that were copies of British Sten guns. According to ballistic experts, because they used barrels from the Vis pistol, these machine pistols were better than the British. The Polish underground also developed their own błyskawica, or lightning, submachine gun that combined the appearance of the German MP submachine gun and Sten gun.
Niemieckiego pistoletu maszynowego MP i pistoletu Sten.
In these programs we've seen how Poland, from its emergence in 1918, after 123 years of partition, has, as a state, had to fight for its place in Europe. The army and the other services have constantly grappled with the need for new technology against an ever-changing European political and military background. This fight for technology is one thing, but in Poland there was also a real fight against real enemies. And despite their material defects, of never quite being ready, of never quite having enough equipment, the Polish military spirit was undimmed. This was clearest of all in the Second World War, when Poland contributed to two particular events, the battle at Monte Cassino and the contribution to the Battle of Britain. Those just two out of every major theatre in which the Polish army took part. This has been a fascinating story of an undimmed military spirit fighting against all the odds. A great story. I'm Nicholas Richardson, and join me again on Poland Daily History when we delve into some more exciting aspects of Poland's history.
Hello and welcome to Poland Daily Travel. Today we head west. Our destination is the palace and grounds at Radziowice. Situated about 40 kilometers west of Warsaw, the palace complex is a haven for artists and a welcome spot to retire to the countryside for travelers. It's a complex of classical residences surrounded by a park. And it's been a cultural center since 1965. The Radziowice family first built the castle in the 1500s. During the palace's heyday, it was a residence to various kings of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. During the 17 and 1800s, the Kraszyński family gave the complex its present look. And currently, the castle and the complex are visited by writers, columnists, actors, filmmakers, musicians, and visual artists. So come along and let's take a look at the Radziowice Castle, Palace, and Grounds. The weather's perfect. Let's go for a walk. And watch Poland Daily Travel. We're glad to be here for you.
Hello, everybody. We're here. Me and Arthur. That's me and Arthur. I got to point. Me and Arthur? No, it's not working. We're here on the grounds of the beautiful castle at Radiowice. Outside, not just a castle, but a palace and a castle.
And dwór.
And dwór behind us, which is a classic Polish country house. And you two can stay here for a minimal cost of about $50 a night, a little more than that perhaps. You can stay in this beautiful dwór. The dwór is a classic country house, right?
Classic country house. In this case, it's a hotel. There are 13 rooms inside. You can organize a
You've been
wedding.
doing your homework.
Well, I've been ever since 2 + 2 never equaled 5. I had to do my homework.
Okay, all right. Great, Scott. I don't know what that meant, but it's okay.
How about, like, you know,
right over my head.
taking people you like, you stay over there, you organize yourself a wedding.
Great.
Right across the street, you have the
Yeah.
castle, the palace, the lake, a meal.
Well, you have the restaurant where
another
it can
park,
cater everything for you.
restaurant,
Yeah.
this place. And it's half an hour away from Warsaw. Very convenient price, very convenient parking.
And yet you're right in the countryside.
You are right in the countryside. You are in the. You are almost in the middle of nowhere. You are on the way to somewhere when it comes to our main roads, and it's just beautiful in here.
Yeah, we're just off one of the main roads, a couple of kilometers away, not if that far. Yeah, it's just actually I think the main road is going right on the outside of the far castle grounds.
Easy to get in.
Palace grounds.
Easy.
So it's great. Easy transport, not far from the city, yet you're in the middle of the countryside and you get to stay in that fantastic place. Also, we just saw a few of the artists in the, here getting master classes in piano, going home for the weekend because it is a Friday afternoon.
There was a guy writing a book over there.
Well, there's a guy living here, a gentleman, elderly gentleman, who's living here and he's writing a book. In fact, we went in his room by mistake. But he said nothing.
Maybe we just appeared in his book as two assassins entering a palace of aristocracy.
Yeah, now you think so?
Well,
great, Scott. You think he made his characters just like that?
Well,
he's sitting there taking notes, saying, and then they entered the room.
Yes,
slowly.
One of him
curtains
had
blew.
red glasses and black
one
glasses.
Had red.
Guy
What?
entered.
Who had the me?
And who?
The red glasses? Are
they
they red?
And they are like what?
See. They're red. Yeah, cherry red. Anyway, that's the dvór, and
like a mansion, like a.
It's a mansion, a country house.
Country house.
Yeah.
It looks like middle 1800s.
Yeah.
And like they made
that's the style, right?
They made a hotel out of it.
Yeah, we know.
Normally, you would have to go to a museum to
see something like that.
Yes, yeah. and they modernized it, and it's a very convenient, easy to reach place in the middle of our state.
Yep.
Radziejowice, that's the name of this place.
Radziejowice, that's where we are.
Out of Radziejowski family.
Come to Radziejowice, it's an amazing place. You will love it. If you've been watching previous episodes, you know very well how nice it is here. Anyway, let's go take a look around the grounds.
Let's walk it around.
Should we walk around?
Maybe we'll walk inside just to take a look.
You want to take a look? Maybe let's see if we can. Let's go. Hello, everybody. We're walking around the grounds of the skansen here across from the palace in Radziejowice, and it's really nice, isn't it?
Well, look, I'm sitting on a well.
You're sitting on a well. Don't fall in.
Well, unless we are making a horror movie today and then something else will come out of the well.
No, I hope it's not like that money pit well in Canada on that island, and it just keeps, the more they dig, the more deeper it gets, and they never find the money. Have you seen that? They made a whole series about that. I guess that's not the same, though.
Well, recently I'm just watching The Suits, so it's whenever they dig, there is money.
Oh, you're such a royalist. I know. Because of Meghan Markle, right? Oh,
no, because
you're
of
so predictable.
because my second name is Harvey.
Harvey?
Yes, I can give you an advice. Imagine that you love somebody so much that you can do everything for them, and then imagine that it's you, and then do what the hell you like.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is not a wishing well, so there's no point talking like that, saying those kind of things to me right here on a Friday afternoon. My goodness. Anyway, I told you that we had people doing parties here. And there's a wedding. Some people probably having a wedding party. They're certainly doing their photos here. So you can imagine they're gonna, I don't know why I'm whispering. Why am I whispering?
I know, because we are next to the well and something may come out over there.
I don't think so. I don't know what? Like a monster?
I keep it.
No,
That's
no,
why
come
I sit in here, because I keep it.
You're holding down the lid?
First you get in the car and then I run.
Yeah? So the monster doesn't come out?
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord, I have no idea what you're talking about. At any rate, there's a big marquee over here, so somebody is planning a big party. I wish it was us. We could invite all our pals.
Okay, so
and a few of the ladies.
So who's the groom, who's the bride?
What?
Who's the groom?
No, I'm not talking. What?
I might be a chubby one.
Great Scott.
What now?
I don't know. We're
What
not printing that. We're not printing that kind of stuff. I don't know what's wrong with you. At any rate, we're still just friends, but it's holding on at the moment by the narrowest of margins. Anyway, I like this building too.
Where are you going?
I'm just looking at this building. Oh, it's really nice.
Well, I'm also looking at this building and it looks pretty nice.
Looks like they're doing seminars here or something like that.
Or some
Very
additional shed constructed for inhabitants of this place.
Let's go. There's a very strange building over here. I would like to tell
you that the real bride kisses the real groom.
Yeah, that's
right
what that's what I was talking about. It's like, I wish it were us, one of us, with a nice person of our choice. I don't. That's all I meant. Having a nice party. That's it.
Did you get it? Did you get it? Such a wonderful place. Like, ever since we came, I feel so relaxed in here.
I do too, actually.
No, because there are many nice parks that I visited, but this one is exceptional.
It's exceptional.
On every single square feet of it, I felt exceptional.
Yeah.
It's not too big. We walked it around, we saw everything, and we didn't walk so much. And
well, we didn't go to the far end of the place, but yeah, we've covered a lot of it. Yeah, we have.
Nice places. Even you ask yourself about this little in the distance, you can organize yourself a wedding. You are looking at this building. I am sitting on this well, and that's travel. That's Poland Daily Travel. That's what we do.
Poland Daily Travel. We'll be back with more exciting stuff in our next thrilling episode from Rajowice.
Rajowice.
Castle and Palace. Right?
Yes.
Rajowice. Say it the Italian way.
Rajowice.
Yeah,
pizza style.
I feel like I'm in Sicily. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the next exciting episode. And some of it will even be watchable.